Dear viewers, today we will read chapter A Polar Explorer. If you have seen the introductory video, this reading session will be easier for you. Roald Amundsen was born in Norway in 1872. As a child, he read about famous British explorers. He joined as many sports teams as he could and slept with his windows wide open. Despite the freezing cold Norwegian winters, so that he would be fit, strong, and ready if he got the chance to be an explorer. Amundsen's family worked in the shipping industry, but his mother wanted him to avoid the dangers of a life at sea, so she encouraged him to be a doctor. He obeyed his mother's wishes while continuing to read about explorers. When he was 21 years old, his mother died. Amundsen left university and began his life as an explorer. There are some of Amundsen's achievements. He was the first to pass through the Northwest Passage in the Arctic Ocean. He was in the first expedition to reach the South Pole on 14 December 1911. In 1926, he led a successful expedition to the North Pole. He is recognized as the first person to have reached both poles. In early expeditions, Amundsen was part of the crew. He watched, listened, and learned some useful skills. Once on a ship trapped in ice, he observed how the doctor's hunting skills provided the crew with fresh meat and kept them free from scurvy. Scurvy is a disease caused by a lack of vitamin C. It can lead to illness, the loss of teeth, and death from bleeding. So, dear children, it means that being an explorer, he watched the crew members and he learned the skills that were related to his this aim to be an explorer. Okay. When he was 28 years old, Amundsen became the leader of expeditions with his own ship, Jijua. The ship is still on display at the Fram Museum in Oslo. From 1903 to 1906, Amundsen took a crew of 6 men on Jijua on an expedition to find a route through the Northwest Passage. The Northwest Passage is the name of the sea route through the Arctic Ocean from the Atlantic to the Pacific. Due to the very cold temperatures, the area is frozen over most of the time. For a short while each year, the ice around the land in the north of Canada can break up enough to allow vessels through. Jijua was small enough to pass through these waters and over the shallow areas that would have wrecked bigger ships. During the winters, when the ship was frozen into the ice, the crew watched the Inuit who lived there and picked up important Arctic survival skills. Now, here, if you relate the introductory video, we have seen that Inuit and Eskimos are the indigenous and the native people of the Arctic region. Okay, so they are basically the native people Arctic survival, they picked up important Arctic survival skills such as using dogs to travel by sledge. Now, sledge is a vehicle on runners that carry passengers and that can carry goods on the ice and on the snow. So, as on these regions, on North Pole and on South Pole, there is always ice and snow. So, these sledge usually take the passengers and their food items easily. Okay, these were useful on later expeditions to the North Pole. Amundsen also stocked up on furs to wear, which were much warmer than the woolen clothes he had. Getting to the North Pole was a challenge. First, Amundsen tried to go by ship, but it got stuck in ice. He had to think of another way to achieve his goal and decided to travel by plane. Now, he first made a small plane which was Jijua, fine, but when he thought that in many times it got stuck in the ice, so by the time he decided to travel by plane. The first attempt in 1925 was dangerous and unsuccessful. Finally, in 1926, Amundsen made it to the North Pole. 3 other people claimed separately to have got to the North Pole before Amundsen, but all of these have been disputed. Disputed means something which is uncertain and something which is not clear. Okay, Amundsen's skills and perseverance made him the first person to be able to claim that he had been to both poles. He said that his successes came from proper preparation and having the appropriate equipment. He said, "Victory awaits him who has everything in order." Amundsen wrote about his experiences in his autobiography, My Life as an Explorer. Here are some paragraphs which might be from Amundsen's diary. Now, let's come to the question answers, which is in the exercise. In our coming video, we will read these paragraphs, which is from Amundsen's diary, and we will sort out the questions that is related to it. Okay, let's come to the first question, which is, what did Amundsen's mother want him to be? Yes, Amundsen's mother wanted him to be a doctor. The second part is, did he follow her wishes? So, he followed her wishes until she died. The second question is, what gave Amundsen the inspiration to be an explorer? How did he prepare for this as a child and as an adult? Amundsen was inspired by famous British explorers. As a child, he prepared for life as an explorer. As an adult, he worked as a ship's crew member, where he watched, listened, and learned useful skills such as how to prevent scurvy, how to keep warm, and how to use dogs to travel by sledge. Next question is what key skills did Amundsen learn about survival? Look at the fourth and sixth paragraph. Amundsen learned some useful survival skills, but he was also very determined and well prepared. He made sure he knew how to survive before setting off on his own expedition. Question number fourth is, what made it difficult to pass through the Northwest Passage? What helped Amundsen achieve? Very cold temperature, shallow seas and sea ice made it difficult to pass through these waters and over the shallow areas. Next question is, when did Amundsen get to the North Pole? The answer is, it was 1926 when he got to the North Pole. What did Amundsen's companion mistake the Eskimos for, and why? This question is related to the diary, to the autobiography paragraphs that we will read in the next video. I hope you have understood our today's lecture. Wait for the next video. Till that, goodbye.